Imagine waking up to find your dream project defaced by the neighborhood busybody who thinks she's the queen of suburbia. That's exactly what happened to Alex Rivera, a quiet guy who'd finally built his perfect workshop barn, only to have it targeted by the HOA's self-appointed overlord, Karen Whitaker, in a move so petty it could only end in her total humiliation. Buckle up, because this tale of control freaks, forged signatures, and hidden cameras is about to expose how one upstanding citizen's reign of terror crumbled under the weight of her own absurdity. Alex Rivera had always been the type to mind his own business. In the sleepy suburb of Willow Creek, Virginia, where manicured lawns stretched like green carpets under the relentless sun, he lived on the edge of the Ridgewood Estates subdivision, a spot that felt more like a small farm than a cookie-cutter neighborhood. His property, inherited from his late grandfather, was grandfathered out of the HOA's clutches, meaning no nosy board could dictate the color of his mailbox or the height of his grass. But whispers followed him anyway. Folks murmured that he was antisocial, a recluse, who probably had something to hide in that new barn he built last spring. Alex heard the rumors at the local hardware store, where cashiers would glance sideways and say things like, "Heard you're turning that place into some kind of junkyard?" He'd just smile thinly, pay for his nails, and walk out. Inside, though, he was cataloging every snide remark, every pointed stare. Patience was his weapon. He'd learned that from years of dealing with bullies in the corporate world before retiring early to tinker with old cars and solar gadgets. The barn itself was a masterpiece of DIY ingenuity. A sturdy red structure with reclaimed timber beams, a slanted roof topped with gleaming solar panels that powered his tools and even fed a little energy back to the grid. Inside, it housed his vintage motorcycle collection, a workbench cluttered with wrenches, and a couple of rescue goats that munched hay in the corner. It was his sanctuary, built with county permits in hand, no HOA nonsense required. But peace in Willow Creek was as fragile as Karen Whitaker's ego. One crisp Saturday morning, as Alex sipped his black coffee on the porch, watching the dew evaporate off the grass, a sharp rap echoed from the front door. He opened it to find Karen standing there, clipboard in hand, her pastel pantsuit pressed to perfection, lips pursed like she'd just sucked on a lemon. "Mr. Rivera," she said, her voice dripping with that faux-polite southern drawl that masked pure venom. "We have a problem with your eyesore." She gestured vaguely toward the barn, as if saying the word barn might soil her vocabulary. Alex leaned against the doorframe, his flannel shirt untucked, boots scuffed from yesterday's work. "Morning, Karen. What's the issue?" He kept his tone even, but his eyes flicked to her clipboard, noting the way her knuckles whitened around it. She flipped a page with a dramatic flourish. "This structure violates Section 4.2 of the Ridgewood Estates Covenants, unauthorized modifications to property aesthetics. It's unsightly, Mr. Rivera. We pride ourselves on uniformity here. Think of the property values." Her smile was all teeth, no warmth, like a shark pretending to be a goldfish. He chuckled softly, but there was no humor in it. "Karen, my lot isn't part of your HOA. I double-checked with the county before breaking ground. Permits are solid. If it's about aesthetics, well, last I checked, my goats aren't throwing wild parties." Her eyes narrowed, that polite facade cracking just a hair. "Everyone contributes to the community's image, even outliers like you. We've had complaints, anonymous, of course, about noise, smells, and clutter. Submit a variance request, or we'll have to escalate." She thrust a form at him, her manicured nails tapping impatiently. Alex took the paper but didn't unfold it. Anonymous complaints? Funny, I haven't heard a peep from my actual neighbors. Thanks for the suggestion, but I'll pass. He handed it back, watching her face twitch as she snatched it away. As she marched down his driveway, clipboard swinging like a pendulum of doom, he muttered to himself, "Here we go." Little did he know, that was just the appetizer in Karen's buffet of bullying. By Monday, the rumors had escalated. At the neighborhood Facebook group, moderated by Karen, naturally posts popped up like weeds. Concerned about that ramshackle barn on Elm Street? It's bringing down our curb appeal. One read, with blurry photos attached. Comments piled on, eyesore, health hazard, who's he hiding in there? Alex scrolled through them on his phone, sipping his evening beer, his jaw set. He didn't comment. Instead, he screenshot everything, filing them away in a digital folder labeled Karen's Circus. Patience, he reminded himself. Let her dig her own grave. The next blow came midweek. A neon orange violation notice slapped onto the barn door with industrial tape that left sticky residue. It screamed in bold caps, "Cease construction immediately. Fines to accrue daily until compliance." The HOA logo gleamed at the top, but the language was sloppy, like something copied from a bad legal drama. Alex peeled it off, examined it under the barn's fluorescent lights. Escalating fines up to $500 a day? For what? Existing? He called the county inspector, a gruff guy named Hank who'd approved the build. Full of hot air, Hank grumbled over the phone. Your barn's kosher. She's got no say. Want it in writing? Absolutely, Alex replied. 2 days later, he had the official letter stamped, notarized, irrefutable. He printed multiples, laminating them for good measure, and plastered them around the barn like victory flags. Try me now, he whispered to the empty air, a small smirk creeping onto his face. But Karen wasn't one to back down. Oh no. She doubled down like a gambler chasing a bad hand. That night, under the cover of darkness, Alex's solar-powered security cams, installed after the first whispers of trouble, captured the absurdity. There she was, Karen Whitaker, HOA president extraordinaire, sneaking up in an oversized hoodie that did nothing to hide her signature pearl necklace peeking out. Flashlight in one hand, spray can in the other, she shook it vigorously and unleashed a stream of white paint across the barn side. Code violator? Tear down. Her movements were jerky, almost comical, like a villain in a low-budget thriller who forgot her lines. She glanced around furtively, tripped slightly on a root, and muttered something about maintaining standards before scurrying off. Alex watched the footage the next morning, coffee spilling slightly as he laughed, a bitter, dark chuckle that echoed in his kitchen. Oh, Karen, you absolute clown. He burned the video to a USB, added the county letter, and headed to the sheriff's office. Deputy Ramirez, a no-nonsense woman with a ponytail and a badge, viewed it twice, her eyebrows climbing higher each time. Let me get this straight, she said, leaning back in her chair. Your HOA prez vandalized your property because she doesn't like barns? Pretty much, Alex said, sliding over the report. And she's been spreading lies about me being some kind of neighborhood menace. Ramirez shook her head, a wry smile forming. Vandalism's a misdemeanor at least. We'll pay her a visit. Got any popcorn? This could get entertaining. Alex left with a copy of the incident report, feeling the first stirrings of that sweet, simmering satisfaction. But as he drove home, he knew Karen's mask was slipping, and desperate people do desperate things. The retaliation arrived like clockwork, slipped under his door in a plain envelope that screamed, "Amateur Hour." Inside, a cease and desist letter on fake HOA letterhead, accusing him of defamation for reporting her official duties to the authorities. "Your actions constitute harassment," it read in stilted legalese. "Cease or face litigation for damages to reputation and community harmony." Alex read it aloud to his goats, who bleated indifferently. Harmony? From the woman who paints barns at midnight. He emailed a scan to his sister, Mia, a real estate attorney in Richmond who dealt with her share of HOA horror stories. "Bluff City," she texted back after reviewing it. "No lawyer wrote this, it's straight from LegalZoom. No filings in court either. But hey, guess what? Your pal Karen just petitioned to annex your street into the HOA retroactively." Claims unanimous support. Alex's blood ran cold for a second, then hot with indignation. Unanimous? I sure as hell didn't sign. He grabbed his keys and drove to the county clerk's office, where a bored clerk handed over the petition. 5 pages of jargon. But the signatures leaped out, his name in loopy cursive he wouldn't use if his life depended on it. "This is forged," he told the clerk, who shrugged. "File an objection if you want verification." Objection filed. Alex went door-knocking that evening, starting with the elderly Mr. Patel next door, who ran a small veggie garden despite Karen's past threats about non-conforming flora. Signature? "I never signed no petition, Mr. Patel huffed, comparing it to his own shaky scrawl. Down the street, the young family, the Harises, Jamal and Lena, laughed bitterly. "We moved here to escape that witch's rules." Fraud. Plain and simple. By sunset, Alex had 4 neighbors on board, their stories spilling out like pent-up floods. "She fined me for my kid's lemonade stand," Lena confided. "Called it unauthorized commerce," Jamal added, "and spread rumors we were troublemakers when we complained." Alex nodded, his notebook filling up. "She's building an empire on lies. Time to topple it." The whispers turned to roars when Alex contacted the local news. Reporter Zoe from Channel 12 showed up with a camera crew, her questions sharp as tacks. "So, you allege forgery, vandalism, and harassment, all over a barn?" she asked. Mike thrust forward. "Not alleging, proving," Alex said, showing the footage of Karen's midnight masterpiece. "She's manipulating the system to grab power. And I'm not the only victim." The story aired that night. HOA horror, forged petitions and midnight vandalism rock suburb. Karen's face, frozen in the spray paint frame, became the thumbnail. Comments exploded. "What a Karen classic! Jail her clipboard." But Karen, cornered rat that she was, lashed out. The next day, 2 HOA enforcers, a paunchy guy in cargo shorts and a stern woman with a visor, marched onto Alex's lawn, snapping photos. "Documenting non-compliance," the guy barked, Bluetooth earpiece blinking like a sad disco light. "You're trespassing on private property," Alex called out. "Phone recording. No jurisdiction here. Remember," the woman sneered. "We're upholding standards. Move aside." Alex stood firm, arms crossed. "Upholding standards? Like spray painting at night?" "Smile for the camera." They faltered, muttered about reporting this insubordination. and retreated, tails between legs. Alex uploaded the clip to his evidence drive, chuckling darkly. Insubordination? This isn't a dictatorship, yet. The sheriff's investigation kicked into gear, freezing the annexation petition. Neighbors started chatting in driveways, sharing war stories. "She threatened to lean my house over holiday lights," one said. "Called my barbecue grill a fire hazard, while her own yard's a weed fest," another griped. Alex listened, connected dots. The powder keg was lit. Then came the subpoena for Karen. Served at her pristine colonial home, right as she hosted a community tea for her cronies. Alex heard about it from Deputy Ramirez. She turned beet red, sputtered about misunderstandings. One board member bolted midscoon. The Planning Commission denied the petition, citing fraud, and referred it to the state AG. Forgery for zoning manipulation? Class D felony. Karen's empire was cracking. But the real bombshell dropped with a search warrant on the HOA office, a dingy trailer masquerading as headquarters. Officers hauled out boxes, altered documents, surveillance logs, even hidden camera feeds from fake bird feeders dotted around the neighborhood. "She's been spying on us, Mr." Patel gasped when Alex shared the news. At the precinct, Detective Hayes showed Alex the file on his household. Timestamps of his comings and goings, notes like, "Subject resistant, apply pressure via rumors." An envelope marked Rivera Strategy detailed the barn takedown plan. "This is stalker-level crazy," Alex said, voice low with fury mixed with incredulity. "Long con," Hayes replied. "Expanding turf to hike dues, pocket funds. She's embezzled thousands, shell companies, phony invoices, federal charges incoming, wire fraud, surveillance violations." Alex walked out into the crisp air, the weight lifting. Back home, his phone pinged with an email, "Emergency meeting, HOA leadership overhaul." He attended, watching as Detective Hayes presented slides of the evidence. Gasps filled the gym. A few stood, demanding refunds. "Our dues funded her spy games?" one shouted. A state rep, MS Ellis, announced audits and restitutions. Fraudulent collections? Refunded. Damages? Compensated. Then, turning to Alex, "Care to speak?" He took the mic, heart pounding but voice steady. "I built that barn for peace, not war. But Karen turned it into a battlefield, spreading lies about me being a threat. We let her rule through fear, forged signatures, hidden cams, fake authority." No more silence. Applause erupted, steady and building. The vote to dissolve the HOA passed overwhelmingly. Bylaws allowed it with majority consent. Outside, under streetlights, Alex watched Karen led away in cuffs, her eyes darting for allies that never appeared. "All that for a power trip," a neighbor muttered. Queen of nothing now. In the weeks that followed, the neighborhood breathed freer. Signs came down, replaced by community gardens and tool shares. Alex helped the Harises build a coop, naming a feisty hen Karen, who bossed the flock until they pecked back. The audit revealed $32,000 siphoned, restituted via her seized assets. Rob, the mechanic, hosted bonfires. Helen led sing-alongs. Even grumpy Mr. Patel shared tomatoes. One morning, Alex found a note with honey. "Thanks for breaking the chains. Fear divided us. You united us." He framed it by the barn door. As summer bloomed, the barn became a hub tools lent, Advice shared. No codes questioned. Federal sentencing loomed. 12 years for Karen. No parole. Alex poured coffee, reflecting on the absurdity. From a petty paint job to a felonious fall poetic. Really? So, tell me, was Alex the real villain for fighting back? Or does every neighborhood need a barn to burn down the tyrants? True or false silence enables the Karens of the world? Drop your thoughts below. Let's debate who truly violated the code of decency.